Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be tongue-tied for small talk. Well, I've got an email here from a guy who's definitely developed an unhealthy, kind of creepy attachment to a woman. It looks like he just continually goes into her office building, and he doesn't really have the guts to interact with this woman in person. He tends to call her on the phone later, which just really makes things look bad. But he's thinking this is some kind of spiritual challenge that he's got to overcome here. So I have a quote that I wrote, and we're going to go through his email. There may be some face palms in this particular email. And the quote says, "If you perceive yourself as being an outsider or undesirable, you will unconsciously seek out people who are uninterested and who make you feel unwelcome. By continuing to interact with them or trying to force an interaction where it is not welcome, you are acting consistent with your belief that you do not deserve what you want. In order to fill your life up with people who really want to be there, you must continually extend your invitations to the kind of people you want in your life without any attachment to whether they accept it or not. Your responsibility is only to extend your invitations to the kind of people you want in your kingdom, not to beg them to be there. The right like-minded people will enthusiastically accept your invitations, and those who don't, send them love, wish them well, and let them go forever." So let's go through his email. He says, "Hi Corey, I'm impressed by the amount of content that you have up on YouTube. I have not read your book yet and intend to do so shortly." Quit fucking around, dude. You definitely need to read the book. I've already read your email, and you are a prime candidate for my book, dude. I have this specific problem. I'm standing in front of an office. She is inside, sitting in the front row alongside other women. I go in, talk to the people around her, but feel they know why I am coming in, because I have done this many times, once a month, at least in the past. Sounds pretty creepy so far. Then, to hide my discomfiture, is that a word? I do some routine transactions and walk out, unable to talk to her. Well, dude, if you're continually walking in the office and talking to everybody but this girl you like, you're making yourself look like a beta male. And it's better that you not even go in there at all if you're going to behave this way, because that's going to freak people out. Because one of these days you're going to walk in there and then you're going to be escorted out of the building by security and be told not to ever come back. In the past, even recently, she has shown interest repeatedly by looking into my eyes, but turned down any request to pick up my phone or talk to me directly. Well, if you'd have read the book, you would know that if people like you, they will help you. They will help you get to their front door to take them out on a date or to meet them out. And so you're telling yourself that this girl likes you, but yet when you call her on the phone, she ignores you and she won't even talk to you directly. You look at a person's actions, and her actions communicate she ain't into you, dude. That's the reality of it. He says, however, she has let it be known that she is interested in me. Really? This is peculiar, and I know that you tend to dismiss such infatuation and ask your clients to go look for others, but this is different. I will tell you why later. Dude, you've been watching way too many fucking movies. What I reckon is this. She's an alpha female. Oh, that's why she's rejecting you, because she's an alpha female. Well, an alpha female is not going to want to go out with a guy who is so beta male that he comes into her office and talks to everybody except her, and then you later call her on the phone. That makes you look like a pussy, dude. That's the bottom fucking line. If I am not man enough to talk to her or talk around her loudly enough and assertively enough, she will not accept me. You are totally in an approval-seeking mindset, dude. She shows me repeatedly through subtle gestures that if I were to banter around with the group of people around her, become friendly and hold my own, she is game. Look at the fantasy this guy's telling himself. This is almost a spiritual game that I am confronted with. Now the point is this. If I am able to go around confidently talking, bantering, holding my own, and getting myself out of my own way, then, even if I do not get her to agree for a future relationship, dude, you have to have a first date, at least, before you ever start talking about a relationship. That's the problem. You're focused on having a relationship with this girl instead of just having a first date. You don't know what she's like. Maybe she's boring. Maybe she's got all these weird, freaky things that she's into that are going to totally turn you off. But instead, you've got this irrational fantasy that you're building up in your own mind, and you're projecting it onto her. And you're continually justifying your behavior by saying, oh, well, I just have to overcome. This is a spiritual thing. Dude, if she ain't picking up your phone calls when you call, she doesn't want to talk to you because you've obviously creeped her out by now because this has been going on for some period of time. I did a video newsletter probably a year ago called Clueless Creepy Stalker or something like that. And the guy was like literally showing up in this girl's town, showing up where she went grocery shopping, just doing all kinds of weird, creepy, crazy shit. And on top of that, the guy I think was in his 40s or his 50s, and this girl like sounded like she was a teenager or early 20s. And the guy actually had the police call him and say, why don't you come on down to the station, pal? And they had a come to Jesus talk with him. He says, it will be a big leg up for me because I am too much of a nerd. People shy away from me. People shy away from you, dude, because you act weird and fucking creepy. Your behavior scares people. People that act like you do weird, crazy things. I can only talk academic stuff on which I can talk for hours. That's why you should be hanging out with people who like that kind of talk. People who like the same things tend to like each other. I mean, the bottom line is if you had a lot in common, you'd be talking with this girl about things that you had in common. So you got to ask yourself, where are the kind of people who like the academic kind of stuff that you're into? Maybe you join a debate club or something. Or maybe you join Toastmasters or something. Find people who like the same things, or there's a group or some kind of social organization, trade show, something that you can go and do with other people who are kind of nerdy, geeky, that are into the same things you are. I've met some really beautiful fucking hot women that are total nerds. But you're not going to meet those women if you're going and stalking this woman in an office environment. Never going to happen. You're taking yourself out of the game because you're totally fixated on making her want you. And the reality is she doesn't. Look at her actions. That tells you everything you need to know. I even have in mind being a public speaker one day. Another reason why you should join like Toastmasters. However, for that, I need to man up to enlarge the scope of my own self-confidence and talk to anyone holding my own. There's several videos that I did that are on the Essential Fundamentals tab on my YouTube channel. One of them is called How you Can Improve Your Social Skills. I would definitely watch that one. That was, I think it's like 10, 12 minutes. Go to the mall and do exactly what it says. You got to practice these things. Because you're showing up in this environment with all these people. They know why you're there. And you've already been shot down and turned down. So now you look weak and pathetic to continually come back to this kind of environment. So of course you're not going to feel comfortable in that environment because you're not wanted there, dude. That's the reality of it. So go where people enthusiastically want you around. If you don't believe you deserve to have what you want, this is what happens. You interact with people like this because interacting with people like this who don't want you there, where you're unwelcome, it matches your belief. And people will act consistently with who they view themselves to be, whether that view is accurate or not. And so if you don't think you're good enough to have what you want and have a woman love you for you and who you are, this is what you do. You do things like this. Because deep down you don't feel you deserve it. You stay hung up on somebody who's not interested. But yet you keep telling yourself, well, it's just a matter of time. I need the right pickup line. I need the right conversation. I need just the perfect moment. The stars and the planets have to align. It's never going to happen, dude. I am basically confident, articulate, tall, and attractive, and I know that secretly many, many people, guys and gals, show interest in knowing me more intimately. Well, you know what? That's never going to happen as long as you're interacting with people who don't want you around. Interact with people who not tolerate you, but people who welcome you be there. You don't want somebody that's on the fence about you. You want somebody that would jump fences to be with you. However, I shy away from them all. Friends have told me that I am too naive. It's probably a nice way of saying, dude, you're naive, thinking that you can keep going and showing up at this place and this girl's eventually going to want to go out with you. I feel like I come across as too callow or intellectual. The idea is that you got to become proud of who you are. If you're intellectual and you like talking about things, nerdy things that most people aren't interested in, where do the nerds hang out at? Think about it. Like a lot. I mean, I've seen a lot of really beautiful people at those Comic-Con conventions, smoking hot women that love dressing up like fucking superheroes. They're into that shit and they're geeky as hell, but they're hot. That's where you need to be, is places like that where like-minded people like you are hanging out. But instead, you're not hanging out with like-minded people. You're hanging out with people that are, in essence, the exact opposite of you. And that's why it's not working. That's why the vibe is just not there, dude. I know not what impression I create on people, but no one approaches me. Well, when you act weird and creepy like this and you're constantly hanging around with people who don't want you there and ignoring the fact that they don't want you there, instead of hanging out with people that are like-minded and who welcome you, that's going to be your reality. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And when they do, inevitably, it fizzles out. So what? Keep circulating. Keep moving. You can't take it personally. People who really care about you, they will make the effort to stay in your lives. When I look at my life, 45 years old now, the closest friends that I've had, they're people that have always made the effort. Even when I, at times, have been lazy and maybe haven't kept in touch as much or haven't been as good a friend as I should have been, they always find a way to reach out. And we stay in touch. And sometimes it's just the opposite. Sometimes they don't make much of an effort. And I say, you know what? There were times where I wasn't making much of an effort and they were. And I'm going to make a little bit more now than I normally would, just because we've been friends for a long time. Maybe they're going through a difficult time or whatever. Just letting them know that you care about them and that you love them and you're thinking about them. That's all you got to do. But the reality is, your real true friends, people that really like you, for who you are, they'll find a way to stay in your life. They'll want to be there enthusiastically. I hardly have friends except a few childhood friends who love me. Basically, I think I only approach those who are appreciative of me. That is exactly what you should be doing. You should be hanging out with people who want you around, who are excited to be there. Why on earth would you want to go try to hang out with people that don't want you around? I mean, think about it. You're just asking for trouble. You're just asking to be rejected. You're just asking to be treated like some kind of fucking outcast. I have fear of rejection and all those sorts of fears. I am really struggling. I read endlessly psychology books. Well, notice what you're doing. You're doing a lot of studying, you're doing a lot of reading, but you're not doing a lot of taking action. And it's because you've had bad experiences, because you're constantly trying to get people who don't want you around to want you there. Instead of just looking for people who welcome you, who want you to be a part of their lives, who want you in their social circle. I have made a little progress, but when it comes to talking and expressing myself emotionally, I draw a complete blank. I am tongue-tied for small talk. I hope you can help. Well, that's the problem there. You're thinking, what do I say? What is the conversation? What do I talk about? If you want to create rapport with other people, become sincerely interested in other people. You want to be asking questions. If you're fascinated by somebody, or they share similar interests, similar goals, similar values, ask questions. Be curious about other people. But if you're focusing on what can I do to tell a funny story to get them to like me, you're going to really struggle. We all love to talk about ourselves. And that's the best, quickest way to create rapport, is just simply ask people about their lives, their goals, their dreams, their interests, their hobbies, what they're into, what's exciting, what's compelling to them, what they love. I did an article about a couple of years ago called Great First Date, Great Pickup and First Date Questions That Create and Build Attraction. If you Google Corey Wayne, Google that phrase, it'll come up. I also reference it in my book. As for the reason for going after this particular woman, number one, I feel the love very strongly every so often. Dude, you're infatuated with this girl. there's nothing going on. Think about it. If you really love and value and respect yourself, does it really make sense to love somebody who doesn't give a flying fuck about you? Is that the act of somebody who loves themselves? I would say not. That's the act. That's what somebody does when they don't have a high opinion of themselves, because they don't believe they deserve to have what they want, and therefore they continually interact with people who don't want them around. And people will act consistently with who they view themselves to be, whether that view is accurate or not. And so therefore, if you believe you're unworthy and you constantly hang out with people that don't want you around, you get the constant, repeated experience of being unworthy because people don't want you there. And then that's your story. Oh, nobody wants me around. I can't find anybody to date. Nobody likes me. That's what people like you say. But when we delve into it and find out what's really going on, yeah, you've been hung up on this girl. You've been going into her office for God knows how long, and she doesn't want you around. It creeps you out. They're probably nice to you just because they feel sorry for you. It's time to fucking move on, dude. The universe is plucking her right in front of me again and again as a big challenge that I must overcome for my own spiritual growth. Amen, he says. Well, if you want to overcome this challenge, then let go of your desire and your need to go and visit that place again and say, you know what? They don't want me there. They don't appreciate me there. I want to go where I'm valued and appreciated. And I'm going to keep searching, and I'm going to keep looking until I find somebody who really wants me around. I guess that's the fire department or something. But the idea is you got to keep looking around and keep circulating, because you're not going to find it as long as you continue to interact with somebody like this. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking whichever option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.